This is Grayson Grundhoefer, and we're here today with Dripping Springs four-star quarterback and Baylor commit Austin Novosad after Austin decided to go ahead and reaffirm his commitment to Baylor yesterday. Congrats, Austin, on getting done with this process and making that final decision. What was that like for you?
Yes, sir. I mean, it was awesome. I think, last night just kind of tweeting that out that, I was locked in. I'm confident in my decision. I'm ready to roll with Baylor. So it was exciting.
Yeah, and I know on Sunday you had told me that you were going to, finally get a chance to really talk to your parents about the whole, just kind of your whole recruitment in general and kind of figure out where things stood after you had a massive week of visits. What was that conversation like with your family, and kind of what ultimately led to the decision that, maybe Baylor was ahead of the other schools that were recruiting you?
Yeah, I mean, we got to see tons of great programs and, took great visits. But I think, just sitting down with my parents and finding the best fit for me, Baylor had the best overall fit. And I think that, with Coach Bell and Coach Grimes, the programs had headed in a great direction, especially with Coach Aranda and his person over players, getting good recruits. You can see that throughout the 23 class that he's recruited. And I think that, it's just the best overall fit where I can be the most successful. So that's kind of how I came up with my decision.
Okay, so let's go back in time a little bit, because I know we've been talking for quite a while now, and Baylor's been recruiting you for a long time, and you've been committed there, since December. And they were really a main school that was recruiting you. A couple other schools kind of entered here and there, but let's start on June 1st, because I think that's when things really started to blow up a little bit. The Ohio State offer, and then A&M came a little later, the Elite 11, Notre Dame offer. What have these past 2 months been like for you? And kind of just take me through going to all these different places and just kind of hearing from different coaches and going to the Elite 11. Just what was it like for you these past 2 months?
I think, just getting to talk to these coaches, guys that might be in the NFL one day, hanging around players that you're going to see in college at the Elite 11. But just getting to get to these big-time programs, I think was, definitely worth it, and cool to just see the differences in all the schools, because they were all unique, and I think that they were all great options, but Baylor was the best one for me. And so after about 2 months, like you said, kind of shut it down after I went on the Baylor visit on Saturday and got to hang around the recruits and get coached by Coach Bell. I think that kind of just put the icing on the cake and made me feel confident about my decision, and ultimately, made me post that last night about how I was just staying with Baylor so that, I can kind of shut down my recruitment.
What do you feel like you kind of maybe learned about yourself, during these 2 months, just with everyone talking to you, coaches probably calling you every single night and every single day and talking to your family about it? Did you learn anything about yourself during this?
I think that, just hearing it from all the coaches about how I handled it, right? I think that when you talk to them all, I think that they were all just proud about how calm I stayed, because a lot of kids might have went crazy about some of these offers that they thought were, great. But I think that, instead of doing that, I just kind of sat back and really thought about which place I'm going to be most successful at, because every kid's different. And so I think that the place that I can maximize my potential at is Baylor. And so I guess just, how confident I am in my decision now is kind of what I've learned, and, just trust the process.
Do you feel like there was ever a time during this 2 months where, you maybe really sat back and said, is Baylor really the place for me? Did you ever have those thoughts at all during this period?
Yeah, I mean, recruiting is crazy, and I think, sometimes talking to different coaches, you kind of get these different feelings, but sometimes they don't last forever. And I think that, some days I thought one school and then some days I thought another, but then, you just waiting it out, you kind of see a trend. And I think that, the trend always led back to Baylor. And I think that it was just meant to be. I think that they have the best for me, and the coaches want the best for me. And I think that they showed how much they want me throughout the recruiting process, which means a lot. And I think that, like I said, getting back on this trip to last Saturday and really getting coached, because I got the offer a year ago, but really getting coached by your QB coach, a guy that, you're going to be hanging out with every day and stuff like that. So, it was just kind of meant to be. And I saw that this weekend.
So I know this week was pretty hectic for you, flying out to South Bend and then having that trip. And then you had practices this week. You had the A&M visit on Friday and then Baylor on Saturday. How crazy was this final week in your recruitment, knowing that you were going to make your final decision, sometime in the next week or so? What kind of just take me through these trips and how exhausting was it?
Yeah, it was crazy. Starting last week, went out to South Bend late Monday night, came back late Tuesday night, had practice Wednesday, Thursday, then went to A&M Friday, and then Baylor Saturday. But, I think that you got to make those sacrifices to, make sure that your decision's right. And it was the only week that I could do it. So, I had to do it, because I wanted to feel like I saw everything before I pulled the trigger, and I did. And I think that, getting back up to Baylor was needed, and I saw that it was a place for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, did this kind of period of getting recruited a ton and just opening up things a little bit, just to the point where you're going on visits and stuff, did it kind of even make this moment where you decide on Baylor, did you feel even more confident in that decision?
Yeah, I think that, I've seen a lot of great programs now just going on these visits, and, Baylor's with all these top schools, and I think that, kind of seeing it this weekend and how I'm going to get coached, I think that, that definitely made me more confident.
So I know Sean Bell was instrumental in your recruitment. He played a huge role in it. I know others did as well. Jeff Grimes, Dave Aranda, I'm sure many coaches on the staff played a role in it. What was their consistent message to you, even throughout the process as you're kind of going and looking at other schools? What never wavered on the Baylor end from the coaches?
Yeah, just the commitment that the whole staff had. And, you saw that from start to, now that they wanted me really bad. And I think that they made huge sacrifices to show that. And I think that, that means a lot. You want a school that, doesn't just want you, but they need you really bad. And I think that, Coach Bell and them needed me, and, to help this class come together. And so I think that, they showed that from start to finish, like I said. And so it'll be fun in the future.
Yeah, and I know a big thing for you was kind of the offensive development and kind of the direction that the offense was going. And I know you were excited about Blake Shapen getting an opportunity at the quarterback position as well. What do you kind of expect and want to see out of this offense going forward? And what have they kind of told you about their vision for the offense with you in it in the future?
Yeah, I think that if you watch my high school film, I think they're very similar to kind of some of the things that Baylor runs. And I think that, with Blake this year, I think they're going to really, get to do everything that Coach Grimes wants to do. And, kind of the stuff that he did with Zach Wilson. So I think you'll see that this year. And I think that, I think from a passing game standpoint this year, they're really going to show what they have. And I think that they're going to have another successful year.
So speaking on Sean Bell a little bit, how instrumental was he to you in this recruiting process, and just kind of what is your relationship like with him?
Yeah, my relationship is very good with him. Talk with him every day almost. And I think that, him kind of being like family, knowing a lot about my personal life and just talking to me every day, definitely played a big role in my recruitment.
Awesome. So you got to get back on campus and you got to see Baylor on Saturday. You got to talk to a lot of the, other commits, and you got to get coached by Sean Bell. How cool was it that you got the offer last summer at a camp and got coached by Bell, and then, kind of this last trip was pretty much the end of your recruitment? How cool was that to kind of see it come full circle?
Yeah, it was cool. I went to the Baylor camp last year and never thought that I was going to get an offer. I was just going out there to compete. it was kind of like a dream come true. And then now, been through the whole recruiting process, get back, in a camp setting, and it was just fun to compete. That's what I love to do, just go out there and sling it. And so got to get coached by Coach Bell and throw to some of our recruits, Micah and guys like that. So, it was fun just getting out there last Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I know you had it circled on your calendar, but it's not every day that the quarterback commit goes to camp and actually competes and goes out and, goes through the camp setting. I mean, how cool was it for you to kind of go out and actually compete? And then also, yeah, like you mentioned, throwing the ball to Micah Gifford as well. Did that kind of make you go, oh, man, this could work really well in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not scared. I'm going to go out and compete, and get coached by a guy that I'm going to be coached by in college if I chose Baylor. And so that's kind of what I wanted to see. And I think that, you just saw the chemistry between me and Coach Bell out there. I love the way he coaches his QBs, and I think that it was just cool to actually go through it. And that's kind of why I wanted to do the camp. So.
Yeah, and then you got to spend time with a bunch of the commits. And I know the class is just growing and growing. It's a massive class, and it's got an opportunity to be the first top 25 class since 2014. What do you see out of the class, and how excited are you to be in a class with, some really good offensive linemen, a really good running back, good defensive players, just a really solid overall class? Is that something that you pay attention to, and did you get to build on those relationships this weekend?
Yeah, I met some guys at the barbecue that kind of committed recently, and I didn't get to personally talk to, but met all of them this weekend. And, I think that you can just see getting around all those guys, how good of people the class is first, before the athlete. And I think that, that shows when Coach Aranda's recruiting guys. And I think, then you look on the field and they're all great athletes. I mean, we got some of the best O-linemen, in the country. And I think that, Baylor's going to do a good job of developing, the whole class from offense to defense. And I think that, some of the weapons we got are elite. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think, I posted last night, Baylor's building a really strong brand nationally, and it's not really just in football. What do you see out of the Baylor brand that's just continuing to grow when you look at basketball, women's basketball, football, of course? What do you see about the Baylor brand right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's growing, like you said, and I think the positivity, around Texas and everything about the Baylor program is great. And I think that with all these sports having success, I think that it's just good for the program, and it's going to bring a lot of confidence to, all the teams, men and women sports. So I think that, just Baylor football having another great year, basketball having another great year. I think that it's just going to bring a good vibe on campus.
Yeah. So personally, what are your expectations when you get to Waco? I know you're going to early enroll, but do you have expectations for yourself when you do get on campus?
Yeah, I mean, just go, get in the classroom, do your thing, make good grades, and then, on the field, just go out there and compete. Just be you, be confident, and, get coached by some of the best coaches. So.
Nice. So what is next for you? What's going on in, I know you got fall camp and everything like that coming up. Is it mainly training and just getting ready for the season now that you have recruiting kind of done? Yeah,
I mean, we just got finished with the first 2 days of practice, put on the pads tomorrow, but, this season is going to be big. We moved up from 5A to 6A, playing some of the best in Texas, Westlake, Lake Travis. So it'll be a big year, a fun one, a tough one. I think, the competition is going to be the best in Texas, like I said, and I think, I'm looking forward to leading my team to another successful year.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about this before, but you're not afraid to compete, right? I'm sure you're really excited about this new district that you're about to play in, right?
Yes, sir. I'm super excited.
Awesome. So before I let you go, I do have to ask one more thing. Are you completely locked in to Baylor? Are you not going to take any more visits or anything like that now?
Yes, sir. I'm locked in for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, Austin. I really appreciate it, and congrats once again, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Have a good one. Thanks, Austin.